Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into this video on the Zen Word channel. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the realm of the Asuras and the Rakshasas and the demonic beings. So where you don't want to end up, basically. Okay, so when we talk about Asuras, if you looked at previous videos on this channel, we've talked about this very extensively. So we won't necessarily go into depths about all the Vaitarani River, where you go and you die. You don't want to end up in the realm of the Asuras, where they want to seek to basically stop you from moving on to heaven and the continuation of your life and feed upon you, right? So I also explained how you're all devas, right? So you are the beings of God. You are the light beings as sentient, intelligent vehicles that take activity. Okay, but you have the Asuras, which are of the darkness, which craves the light of God, and you have the Devas, which are the beings that you see everywhere around us in this realm here, the living beings that have the light of God, right? The Devas. And the purpose of the Deva, the greatest right of a Deva, is the right to go to heaven if they're a good being and they pass the trial and judgment of God. Okay, they get their security clearance granted to heaven, essentially, right? So that's how it works at that level. Now, how do we move forward, in our understanding of the realm of the demons? Well, it's good to talk a little bit more about their lands and their territories, okay? So their territories, okay, they are subject to moving around. They can change the look, okay? So one of the ways it might look, if you get brought into their realm, and the realm is open and basically in the mode where it's attracting people, the Rakshasas will put illusion magic, right, around the realm to kind of make it look really, really nice. For example, like a paradise to attract you, right, into that realm. So you die, you get to the Vaitarani River, okay, you basically have different options. You can let's talk about this again really quickly. You have different things that happen, okay. When you get to the Vaitarani River, emerging from the woods when you die, okay. If you turn around, go back into the woods, just into the woods without a path, you get lost in the woods, maybe if you're lucky you'll bounce back and come back to life, okay. Most likely you're going to come right back out into the signpost out of the woods, okay. And you realize that no, God's not going to let you bounce back into life, okay, in reincarnation, okay, in your same body. So you can't go back to where you came from. Now you can move forward, right? You can move forward, and then you get to the Vaitarani River, which is there, the big, huge river. You can't see across the other side. It's an immense river. It looks like an ocean, but it's a river. Okay, and basically what you have is you have some people that jump into the river and they get totally dissolved. It's the river of chaos. They get dissolved and brought to their initial state, and also go to the judgment of God, where they either go to hell or for reincarnation. But what you really want to do is you want to take the bridge across the river. If you don't see the bridge, you follow the river until you find the bridge, and you tell everybody you meet on the way about the bridge. So you follow the bridge to the bridge, and then you take the bridge over that river. You don't try to cross the river by creating a boat or something out of the wood with the woods. Okay, all this has been thought about. There's nothing on the other side of the river. It's barren. The bridge actually doesn't bring you to the other side of the river. It brings you to heaven. Okay, the heaven, and that's the bridge of God, Bara's bridge. Okay, or Raphael's bridge. So that's the bridge that brings you, and the bridge that's manned by the Archangel of Death as well, and his assistants that man that bridge. Okay, so that brings you to the realms of heaven. And that's what you want to take, okay, to get out of the cycle of death and suffering and rebirth all the time, which comes from jumping into the river. Now, when you're on the bridge, you have all your good stories of your life, which are judged, and your bad stories. So your good stories get you through, and the bad stories will make the bridge become unstable, and then you might get pushed off the bridge and fall into the river, and then once again, judgment, hell, or reincarnation. And if you're coming from the bridge, it's most likely hell. Okay, so it is a bit scary in that way to jump on the bridge, because to take the bridge, because the angels that man the bridge will actually tell you, by going on this bridge you will get judged. You submit to the judgment, and they don't tell you the judgment of who, but things are a little more clear now. okay, with the information that's been revealed. And they're hidden too. They're like camouflage. They don't look like angels, you know. So it's a question of faith at that point too, and also submitting to the judgment of God, understanding that God gives you life, and if God's asking you to go through a judgment to go to paradise, well, it's up to you to trust in God and to trust in yourself to go through that judgment, right? So other options you can do at the Vaitarani River. If you don't take the bridge, you're scared. People have tried to cross, they get stuck on the other side. That's why in some cultures they do certain sadhana practice. You know, when people die, they bring back the people that got stuck on the other side of the river to bring them back on their right path. Because if you get stuck on the other side of the river, there's no way to get back. You're just stuck there. You know, you're a hungry wandering ghost, if you want to see it that way. So at that point, you know, you take the bridge of God, you get to heaven, and then there's different realms of heaven, the realms of the Buddha, where the Buddhas meditate in the air. You have the realm of Rudra, Shiva, and then you have the realm of the archangels, the heavenly hosts, everyone, all the enlightened ones. Okay, so you have heaven. Okay, so heaven's great. That's where you want to end up. You get to heavens. Congratulations, you passed the test. You're in heaven now. And you can continue to grow and develop there. So, what else do people do at the Vaitarani River? Well, they notice that in the woods there's two paths. Okay, and then these paths are subject to change. One of them is stable. Essentially, it's a path for the non-believers. You take the people, I do not believe in God. You take that path. You go on that path. You walk on the path. Something falls from the sky, chops you. You fall off the cliff, and the bones collect at the bottom of the cliff. Okay, the bones of the unbelievers who did not believe in God, and who even were foolish enough to go see what happens to those who don't believe in God. Okay, now you had the other path, which is the small path for those who believe in God. You take that path, okay, and that brings you to that realm. It looks like a mini river. It's a small river. People could think it's the Vaitarani River, but it's a small river. You can just take a mini bridge across. Okay, that's all they got. And then basically that brings you to their little city, and they'll be greeted by a being that looks like an archangel that greets you at the bridge, and then they bring you into their realm, and that's the realm of the Asuras. We've talked about this, refer to previous videos. Okay, okay, but what is that realm? That's all that you see, that when you take that realm of the Asuras, and beware, they can change the access to their realm. So it's not always that it'll be like the small path in the forest. It is in a way, but at the same time, what happens is, you know, now that they're aware that their secrets are being talked about and all these different things, they can modify things. What they will do more realistically is they'll put up the walls, the fence, the gates. You know, so what you have basically, because they have so many resources as well, you know, so many people to feed upon already, you know, devas. So basically, you know, they attract the devas, and they'll continue to attract the devas because they want to grow, right? You know, as creation grows, it allows them to kind of grow as well. So basically, what they're gonna do, you know, is try to attract you into their realm. Okay, and they can make it different. They can put signs up in the woods to confuse you and different things, make different paths in the woods, do all these different things, you know, to confuse you so you get to their realm. Okay, they call it hunting. Okay, so they basically confused the passage, the path, the paths, and the passageways and all that, so that you end up in their realm. So beware of that if you're in the woods, right? In their realms. And then what happens is you get to their realm, and then eventually you pass into their realm. Okay, and their realm actually is guarded, right, by walls and a gate and all that stuff, right? Their city, right? The access to their realms. But when they put their illusion magic, it looks like it's just like entering into paradise, you know, going over a little bridge that's a golden bridge or whatever it is, or, you know, it's all illusion magic from the Rakshasas. Okay, so now what is that city that you get to? That's one of the main cities. Okay, it's actually usually at the access point right by the gate to the outside of the Vaitarani River area, outside of their realms. Okay, and that city is the main city. of um, of that realm of the Asuras, the Rakshasas, and the demonic beings. But behind that city, so you have the gate, you get into the city. Behind that, you have vast realms, and those are basically um, uh, operated and inhabited and ruled over by the Asuras. Now, when we're talking Asuras, I've talked about how a Deva can be transformed into an Asura, into a being of darkness. But what we really refer to as Asuras, okay, is the very powerful beings, the ones at the top of the chain. Those are the ones that are usually referred to as Asuras. And those are the ones that govern over the organizations that govern and control that realm um, of. Um, of the Asuras and Rakshasas and demonic beings at that level, the Vaitarani River realm. That loka that you experience after death, which is your second phase of life. So, you know, also the way they kind of rule it is they kind of separate the land out to themselves, and it's almost like families rule different areas, you know, and it's not really a family necessarily. It's more basically the organization of the powerful Asuras, and then they have Rakshasas working in their families and all that stuff in their organizations, and these separate the land of the Asuras and all that, you know. Also, Gandharvas exist at the level of that realm as well, but they're not in the same land, obviously, you know, not in the same land. So, you know, you have the Asuras, right? And, you know, what is the name of their realm? You know, a lot of people might have questions about that. You know, what is the name of this place? And if that matters to you, if the name matters to you, I'm going to tell you the name. And the name is Vaikulta. Okay? And it's not the place where a Deva wants to end up. It's definitely the place where a Deva does not want to go. And you don't want to go knocking on their gates, trying to wage war on them or anything like that too. They're way stronger than you are as Devas. They'll laugh at you and destroy you. Okay? They're not nice in the way that you're nice. They won't hesitate to kill you at that realm, at that level. But they prefer to take you in and feed on you. Okay? So what is Vaikulta? Vaikulta is the name of the city, right? The place where they lure in the Devas. Okay? And basically, it's va, go, come, va, go, you know, into, right, kulta, right? So it's basically the place where the devas come into the place of cultivation, kulta, the cultivation. So it's the place of cultivation where the asuras cultivate the devas, where they lure them in, where they get their food, basically their place of cultivation. And then after that, they kind of do what they do with them, right? So you have Vaikulta, which is the place of cultivation, where the demonic beings cultivate the light of God that is in the devas, that light of life. Okay, so that's the name of the demonic realm, the demonic city, Vaikulta. Okay, the place of cultivation. And once again, not a place where Deva wants to go. Okay, we talk about this because it's important to talk about this. Okay, it's almost, with everything that's been revealed, they won't be long before they put up their walls, if you know what I mean. Okay, but at the same time, you know, everybody exists for a purpose. The Asuras, the Rakshasas, those beings exist for a purpose. Don't go step on their tail. Leave them alone as a Deva, okay? But don't fall in their traps either, okay? And the same thing goes with the life we have in all the phases of, in this phase of life too. You know, as you have Asura Prakriti, which influences on the world here, you have different concepts, and I've talked about this as well, different things that you see in society, such as things like people get left behind in society, there's no universal income for everybody, all these different things When you're born into the world, you become almost like a slave to the world, where you have to work for the world to have a roof over your head. And if you don't work, well, you're going to be living on the street, right? And all these things. Instead of having a world that greets you like, oh, welcome, thanks for being born into this world. We treasure you now. You're treasured as a member of society, and you're given universal income from a child, as a child. And then you basically you will never lack for anything ever again in your life, and you don't have to work, but if you want to work, that's great too, and you'll make even more money and be able to buy yourself even more wonderful things. The difference in perspective, where society is cutthroat versus society is a place of God. you know and then you can see basically the influence of the Asura Prakriti, the Asuras, that they do on this world here. And why do they do that? To acclimatize you to their world, right? Because if you believe that things are supposed to be cutthroat, when you get lured into their realm and things look a bit cutthroat, you're going to say, oh, that's normal, things are cutthroat from where I come from too, from my experience of life as well. So okay, things are cutthroat too here in heaven, but no, but it's not heaven, their realm. That's not where you want to go as a deva, and it's not where you want to go to flee the judgment of God if you've been a bad person in your life either. I'm telling you right away. Trying to become an Asura, for example, and go into their realm, you're a joke when you get there. They don't give a thing about you. You're just a source of food for them, okay? And they're not nice people, okay? But they're very powerful people, and you'll never get to their level of power if you come in and you're turned or something like that. You'll always be a wrong bottom demon, and you'll never get out of it, and you'll always be they'll leave you craving by feeding you scraps of energies of devas, while the people higher up get all the energy. Okay, so it's not a place you want to go. It's really like a demonic place. You don't want to end up as a deva. Okay, you might think you're a badass person here, but you're not a badass person when it comes there. They're really much, much, much more powerful than you, and they'll kill you on a whim, on the spot, anywhere they are. Okay, so all that to say, we've talked about the name of this realm, and I've also, emphasized that as a deva, and all beings here are devas, right? Light beings, beings of God. Well, as a being of God, that has the light of God, the life of God, you have a right to go to heaven as long as you're a good person and God allows you to get there. So I suggest pursue that right, and don't let anyone take that right from you, especially not some Asuras that want to feed on you and stop you from going to heaven so they can keep you and keep taking the light from you. Okay? Thanks for listening.